And now there are only 2 days left. So I hope you've been enjoying this discussion, these live sessions. And the replay of each of the previous videos, each of the previous ways so far, you can watch on my YouTube channel, Nehaa Goyal Dream Reading. So the story which I wanted to discuss with you all today is in fact based on nature. And we'll figure it out in a minute how. So this is based on a story which comes from the ancient scriptures of India towards the beginning of the universe. There was a sage, his name was Kashyapa. He had 2 wives, Kadru and Vanita. So because of all the penance, all the support, all the seva that Kadru and Vanita had done for Sage Kashyapa said that you have a boon from my side, that your kids will be valorous. And Vanita somehow had done a little more. So Sage Kashyapa had given her a boon that your kids will be more glorious than that of Kadru in terms of everything. Kadru had got a boon when she was asked by Kashyapa, what do you want? How many kids do you want? Kadru said, I want 1,000 snake, nagas. And Vanita said, I just want 2. So Kashyapa gave them the boon and then went to the forest for penance. Now, Kadru had 1,000 eggs, as was the boon by Kashyapa, her husband, and Vanita had 2. Many years passed by. And whenever I speak about the older stories, when we say many years, we are speaking about at least 200 plus years. As far as this particular story is concerned, it is said some 500 years passed by. And that's when Kadru's eggs, those 1,000 eggs, they hatched. And out came the Nagas. But when it comes to Vanita's 2 eggs, they had still not hatched. And in fact, she couldn't even see the cracks in the eggs. She got really impatient. In fact, she also started to, when she saw Kadru giving that motherly, nurturing environment to her Nagas, she kind of felt jealous as well. So out of this impatience and out of this jealousy, what she did was that she went and she broke one of her eggs prematurely. And out came a son who would later be known as Aruna. But this son, because Vanita had no patience, this son was half formed. As far as his lower part was concerned, that had still not formed completely. So this son was enraged. He said, because of your impatience, I will have to live like this. And he cursed his mother that she will have to live like a slave of Kadru and her children because of her own impatience. Vanita realized what she had done. She asked for forgiveness. Of course, Aruna was her son, so he said that only when the second egg will hatch completely, the son which comes out of it will help you in getting out of this curse. That second egg, my friends, was Garuda. You remember Garuda? Garuda was the one who told Lord Rama while he was looking for Sita that it was Garuda who saw, or was it Jatayu? Jatayu was the son of Garuda. So basically this story is about Aruna. You know who Aruna is? Aruna, who was in fact promised all the glories of the world, of the universe by Sage Kashyapa, just because of his mother's impatience, was now deformed. Aruna, in fact, my friends, is that lalima, that sweet red light which we experience at the time of sunrise. But still, the glory which was promised to him of that of the 1,000 suns couldn't come to him because of this story of impatience. So, the day 19 way 19, the day 18 way 18, even though the message is clear, do write to me in the comment section. What do you think is this one point which is very important to inculcate in our life from this entire story, such that we don't land up being as Arun was? Do you want to write that in the comment section? Please do. And while you are doing that, once again, I just want to remind you that all the previous videos so far you can watch on my YouTube channel, Nehaa Goyal Shreem Reading, Nehaa Goyal Shreem Reading, where through stories we have tried to discuss what are those ways in which we can inculcate in our day-to-day life to transform our life. In fact, if you want, you can forward it to your friends. You can play it in front of your family or your children, because having a lot of screen time for them is not good. So it is okay if you play these stories in the background, and they will understand from the very beginning a few very important ways which they can inculcate in themselves, and then they would not really need to transform because they will be brought up with those virtues. Right. So the day 18, way 18, my friends, from this particular story are actually multiple. One, of course, is that have you ever noticed those times when you're eagerly waiting for something? And in fact, because of the work that I do, which is tarot, numerology and DNA astrology, often I am asked that when is that thing going to happen? How can I make that thing happen any sooner? When will I get out of it? Is there any remedy by which I can get out of it already? And such things. We are basically trying to break that egg prematurely. And did you just see the result of breaking off an egg prematurely? One, of course, what needs to be formed, what was promised, the glory, will not be given that glory. And secondly, you will have to go by its curse. And what is the curse? Curse of being a servant to someone else. Which in our life we can say we will again have to be the servant of our previous circumstances. There is no escape. We will have to come back and go through the same karma again and again, again and again. Of course, the good ones, we are happily existing in them, but it's the bad ones which give us suffering. So let things take their own time. Mature at their own time. Let divine timing play its course. There is nothing which is supposed to happen like yesterday if it isn't already. Because we don't want things in our life which are premature, which are deformed. And even though they are supposed to be glorious, but they will not be because we lack patience. And the second thing is, of course, as someone else also mentioned over here, selfishness. Now, have you ever thought, just in this case, even though the mother was really impatient, if you look at it from her perspective, she probably just wanted to mother a child. But she here became a bit selfish. She did not think that what will happen of the egg if I break it prematurely? Yes, she was a bit selfish in this particular story. Now, how many times do we do that in our life? We want a particular job position. We want a particular person. Or we want things to happen like yesterday. But do we consider that because of that want of ours or that impatience of ours, how many people around us are getting affected? How many situations around us are getting affected as well? For example, maybe I want a particular job, wherein my destiny itself is to do what I am doing right now. But still, if I do a remedy and I get a job, have I ever noticed that what if I am denying that particular job, which anyways I will leave because my destiny is to do this, what I am doing right now, that for that particular time I denied that job to someone else who really wanted it, and that person's destiny was to do that job for a longer period of time. Now, one might want to say that still things happen as they are supposed to happen if it is destiny. But there is this element of free will choice that each one of us are given. And this is another thing which this story tells us. Even though the glory of that of the 1,000 suns was as such a promise or a boon to Aruna, but he couldn't get it because of the free will choice of his mother. So at times, such things do come into play, where even though we are promised something, but because of a lot of other elements in our lives or in other lives, other people's life, or maybe those decisions that we have taken because of our free will choices, we choose a different path. And therefore, my friends, as far as patience is concerned, it is indeed a virtue. Look at this time also. At least in India, we were supposed to be in quarantine for 21 days. It has been extended for 2 more weeks. And God knows for how much longer. But isn't that good for us? Like, what about if we, in this particular time, become impatient and go out? The only other result is death. Right? So this is just the right time for all of us in our journey of transformation to learn patience in the current circumstances, with people and with ourselves as well, because we want the glory of the 1,000 sun and not somebody like Aruna, even though, by the way, Aruna did become the Sarathi or the charioteer of the sun later, as far as this mythological story is concerned. He could have been even more glorious than the sun, but he had to settle being the charioteer of the sun. So maybe we have a huger potential which will beckon to us in the divine timing. But just because of our impatience, we tend to loosen up a lot of relationships, a lot of circumstances, a lot of situations. Today, I request you to sit down and think about all those times in the past where maybe you have been patient, and pat yourself on the back for that. And for those where you have been impatient, notice. The idea is not to go into a self-loathing mode, but the idea is to just notice. Forgive yourself for that, forgive others, and then move on. Because, as my guru tells me, as my sensei Raja Chaudhary tells me, that we have the potential of transforming our life in every next breath. And the most important question that we can ask ourselves every time is that how am I better than the last breath that I just took? So this, my friends, was the day 18, way 18. Let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed today's story and if the message of the story was clear to you. I will see you all tomorrow. Tomorrow it's going to be the same time, 7:30 p.m. India Standard Time, on my Instagram handle, Nehaa Goyal, Nehagoyal. And also, in case you have a question which is brimming up on you, just to let you know, I am offering 35% off on all my consultations, tarot, numerology and astrology. These are divinities which will help you getting the answer of these questions, so you can book them. Earlier, where they were 2,700 rupees or $50, now they are 1,755 rupees or $32. In fact, you can take combos also. All the contacts are mentioned below in the description. I will keep in touch with you. Namaskar, Radhe Radhe.